Alright, catching up on videos. Bella's at work until midnight tonight, so might as well. Watching some playoff hockey on mute just so I can catch up on these. It's been a minute. We had a tumultuous week in the markets. I'm somehow still up for the month of May, albeit not by a whole lot, but I will take up rather than down, because the S&P, I'm pretty sure, is down. Might even be down solidly, but I am still up. I did say last video, I'm pretty sure I said that the market, I thought, was going to trade sideways, maybe with a slight downward trajectory. So far, that is accurate. It's not like it's any kind of a crazy foresight, soothsaying sort of thing to say. May very often is a flat, if not down month, so it's not even like I'm some kind of fucking genius, because I most certainly am not. If I was a genius, I would have taken a lot more money off the table. Of course, then I would have a serious tax liability for 2021, because in my non-retirement accounts, or rather my retirement accounts, the ones that you don't have to really worry about realized gains, are really the only ones that I have any kind of losses in, because my inherited IRA is pretty much brand new. The positions in there are all brand new. They're all really, I would say, at the oldest, a month old, because I just got my inherited IRA transferred over from Principal Financial to Merrill. Just an FYI, if your 401k or really any account is with Principal Financial, I feel sorry for you. Good luck, because they are just awful. I inherited my a portion of my father's 401k in September of 2020, and it took them a little over 6 months to get everything squared away to the point where I could get it rolled over into Merrill. And of course, even trying to change the investments themselves, even in Principal, first of all, the options were subpar, because it's all like mutual funds and shit. And even trying to do that was a process that took about a month. Some people may not have the same experience. Some people may very well have good experience with Principal. I, however, did not. And it was a tremendous sigh of relief to get my funds rolled over into a self-directed, inherited IRA with Merrill. I also prefer self-directed for everything. I really do not like mutual funds. Some of my friends make fun of me for basically running my own mutual fund, or positioning my portfolio as though it's a mutual fund. They're not totally wrong. But I just far prefer doing everything myself, self-directed. Did not have that option in Principal. And I do in Merrill. So very happy for that. Anyway, I didn't take any money off the table, even though I would have liked to, theoretically. Just didn't feel like having a crazy tax liability. So I'm still up for the month of May, certainly up for the year thus far. Beating the market year to date, beating the market trailing 3 months, beating the market month to date. So that's a nice feeling. Don't always have that. But yeah, it's dicey. It's probably gonna stay dicey for a little bit, um, at least until, 'cause, I mean, look, the whole argument of the inflation is transitory may be true, but we're not gonna really know for another couple months, because if it's, or actually really more than a couple of months, for a good bit. So far, it's been hovering for the most part, or at least a 10 years been hovering for the most part in the 1.6 area, back and forth, sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower, back and forth. Blah, blah. If that starts spiking up above 1.7, 1.8, 2%, market's going to get a little bit, well, even more shaky and jumpy than it currently is. That may very well happen. We'll see. We'll see. We'll find out. Only time will tell. But that's also why I position myself with very heavy dividend stocks. And by very heavy, I mean every single holding that I have pays a decent dividend, with the exception of Disney. As long as your holdings stay above wherever the 10-year is, they shouldn't get hit too hard. Certainly by comparison, if you look at the volatility in stocks that have no dividend, or a dividend that is under 1%, those have moved in terms of share price, percentage-wise, probably a fair bit more than companies that yield 2 or more percent, generally speaking. Now, does that mean that you should park all your money in some company that's paying a 6 or 7 or 8% dividend? Not necessarily. 9 times out of 10, company that's paying 6 or more percent dividend, they're probably going to cut it. Check to make sure they have the free cash flow able to pay that kind of shit. If a company's earnings per share, trailing 12 months is, just for argument's sake, $6, and their dividend is $7 for the year, just be wary of that. You want to look at payout ratios, because if they're paying out more money than they're actually bringing in terms of earnings per share, because remember, the dividend is calculated on an earnings price, it's a per share basis. So if their inflows, if their earnings are lower than that of their outflows, at least as far as dividends, just be careful. There are a lot of companies that have so much cash on hand, Apple being one of them, that even if they did have terrible quarters for a while, and again, Apple had a blowout quarter, don't forget, but just theoretically, or for argument's sake, there are some companies that are so cash heavy that they can afford to miss their earnings and still pay tremendous dividends. There are plenty of companies that have very, very high dividend payout ratios, but they have tremendous cash flow. They can afford that, but just be careful. I have been wrong so far. I really thought that ExxonMobil was going to cut its dividend. Knock on wood, they have not yet, because their dividend is tremendous. Some would say unsustainable, but they do have insane cash flow. Companies like AT&T, Verizon, they have insane cash flow. Anecdotally, it seems like AT&T is going to cut their dividend as they're throwing a tremendous amount of money at the Warner Media Discovery merger. I'm not sure if that's definite, but certainly seems that certainly the share price reflects that sort of sentiment, that's probably a likely scenario. Even still, if AT&T cuts their dividend, I mean, which again, don't know 100% if they are going to. It is likely. I don't remember. I don't remember reading. I remember reading that there was rampant speculation about that, and they may have hinted at it. I haven't seen an official announcement, but I also haven't really looked, in fairness. But even if they cut it, they're not going to cut it so low. A lot of speculation that I saw is they'll bring it back down to like the 4.5%. But we'll see. And even still, I think spinning off or merging Warner Media with Discovery longer term is actually going to be better for shareholders of both. Just one man's opinion. All right. See you in the next video.